Let's turn to the plan to offset green energy bills by paying households. Proposals being discussed by senior government advisers would compensate households for increases in gas bills that would result from the drive to cut carbon emissions. It's actually something that we picked up on a little earlier in the week. Tom Burke is chairman of E3G, Third Generation Environmentalism, former government advisor on climate change, former executive director of Friends of the Earth. Is this the way, Tom, good morning to you, to help people go green if they can't currently afford to?
Tom, good morning. I doubt it very much. I treat this story with a considerable pinch of salt. It's the third time in a few weeks, actually, that the Times has run a big headline story about how the government is going to get us to net zero. And all of them have been on the basis of unattributed leaks. So I'd be very careful. The government's under huge pressure in advance of Glasgow to say how it's going to deliver. And so there are loads of ideas being discussed in Whitehall, most of which will never see the light of day. And I suspect this is one of those loads of ideas that are being discussed. It's not actually something that anybody's made any decisions about at all yet politically.
The Prime Minister said to, I think it was the liaison committee the other day, we've got to make sure that when we embark on this programme, that is to get to net zero by 2050, that we have a solution that is affordable and that works for people. This government is determined to keep bills low, and that is a priority.
Oh, and he's absolutely right about that, about if you make proposals that are not affordable, they simply won't work. The issue is whether this is, for instance, or some of the others are actually affordable proposals. If you think about this one, the idea is you're going to tax people to raise money, which you will then give back to people to offset the increase in their bills.
They've got to have something. I mean, some of these proposals, some of these heat pumps and gas boiler things that they need, they're incredibly expensive.
Well, actually, you don't know that.
I do know that. They're thousands of pounds, these heat pumps.
The Prime Minister told the liaison committee the other day that it would cost £10,000. He was actually quoting a story, one of the earlier Times stories. Actually, there are people who will sell you a heat pump today for £5,000. So you want to be very careful. No, I'm not saying that's cheap. I'm just saying you want to be very careful about what's a fact and what somebody's speculating or guessing or trying to tilt the debate with. Or that's my point. The underlying point is completely correct. If it's something that people can't afford, if you can't maintain public support for it, then it won't happen. But there are lots of better ways to go about doing this than the idea. And just to remember this particular idea, if the idea of a carbon tax is to drive carbon out of the economy, then the money it raises will fall. Now, it's wonderfully attractive to think the government will give you some money, but people get very cross if you then take that money away. Well, if the income from it falls, how are you going to pay for the money you're giving the people? So, do you see what I mean? It's a really badly thought through idea politically, that one.
Tom, listen, I appreciate it. I know that you have taken enormous pinches of salt regularly with some of the stories that have appeared around this, but I think from what the Prime Minister is saying, that a scheme to help people pay for it might be not too far off in the future.
Well, we'll see, won't we, Tom?
Okay, we're losing the line. Tom, I think we've got the point. Thank you very much indeed. Tom Burke, chairman of E3G, Third Generation Environmentalism.